A nation at war sends its best and strongest men to fight. Those who actually go to the front endure hardships and dangers unequaled in any of their past experience. Courage, pride, and loyalty to their comrades support them in battle. But there are fierce demands upon their emotional resources. Day after day, they live in danger. They see their best friends cut down, shattered by shrapnel, and burned by the fire of the enemy. They see the grinding horror of mutilating death. Finally, these mounting pressures may overwhelm the strongest personalities. These men are the residue of the battle. For every 4 men wounded, 1 soldier will become a psychiatric casualty. Such men may be shaking or crying, but more often they are just very tired and dirty and depressed. A few words with them show that they are out of the fight, for a time at least. They are unnerved and have no initiative. They're not quitters, but are truly ill. A plan for treating these men was developed in the Mediterranean area. This plan involves treatment at 3 levels: division, army, and base. The psychiatric casualties filter back to the battalion aid stations. From there, they are taken by ambulance, together with the physically sick and the wounded, back to the division clearing station. Upon arrival, they are promptly segregated. We have learned that many of these men with neurotic reactions can recover quickly when the battle situation has been left behind temporarily. Fundamentally, we must depend for this recovery on the patient's own recuperative powers. But these powers can best be exercised away from a hospital atmosphere. Consequently, all so-called exhaustion cases are taken immediately to the nearby training and rehabilitation center. There they will see no wounded, only men who are actively participating in their own recovery. They see men being retrained for duty. The emphasis is on showing a man what he can do, rather than on worrying about what he has failed to do. Soon after arrival, each soldier is interviewed briefly by the psychiatrist. Here is a mild anxiety state.
Tell me, soldier, what's your trouble?
Well, sir, I was up on a line and, well, we got into a pretty heavy shelling and a couple of men got killed. So when that happened, I was in charge of the platoon, tried to straighten the men out. I got them straightened out. Another shell came in, lit right alongside of me. Picked me up and threw me off a ways. Broke my rifle. Well, when I came down, the next thing I know, I was out on the forward slope. And the lieutenant had me down slapping me. I was crying. And I don't remember much between the time that the shell came in close to me and for the time the lieutenant got me back off the forward slope. I was crying, and he took me back and had me tagged by the medics, sent back here.
How do you feel now?
Shaky all inside, sir.
What do you mean?
Well, it's hard to explain, but it's not my shake a little bit on the outside, but on the inside, I feel more inside than I do outside. Like a boiling feeling. Just can't explain.
Any other trouble?
No, sir. Weak, that's all.
Did you run after you picked yourself up?
I must have, sir, to land way out there 150 yards ahead of the rest of the company. I don't know how I got out there otherwise. I don't remember that very clearly, that part. So the lieutenant had me down and told me that we were out ahead of the bunch.
How long have you been in the Army?
Pretty near 2 years, sir.
How long have you been overseas?
1 year, sir.
And in combat?
About 9 months, sir.
You've been a rifleman all this time?
Yes, sir.
Up on the line?
Yes, sir.
Ever been wounded?
Yes, sir. I've been wounded twice.
How did you feel after you first got wounded?
Well, sir, the first time, it was pretty heavy, and they carried me right off the line. I was a little jumpy.
Were you jumpy when you came back to your outfit?
Well, sir, after I'm back on the line again, I felt a little more nervous than what I did before I was ever wounded.
How about the second time?
The second time was a little worse, sir.
Have you noticed your nervousness increasing?
Yes, sir. Ever since I've been wounded every time. Before I was ever wounded, I was all right. I never had any trouble at all. Then after being wounded once, I got a little jumpy, a little more cautious, and then the second time, after that, I don't feel just like I have it anymore, like I used to.
Well, soldier, I think that you've had a pretty common experience of having a shell land near you,
Yes, sir.
shake you up a little, gives you more of a fright than anything else. This panic that you had, sort of a safety valve that we all have. What we're going to do with you is keep you here for a couple of days, give you something to make you sleep for a little while. We've got some good chow here. Let you play some poker with the boys. I'll see you a couple of days later. That's all.
All right, sir. Thank you.
In this first interview, a beginning is made in helping the man to orient himself, in helping him to understand that his experience is neither unique nor hopeless. He's now given a chance to pull himself together, resting and lying about for a couple of days with only moderate sedation. One of the things which helps him most is the chance to reestablish normal social contacts. He can enjoy the simple pleasure of writing a letter, or the luxury of a good shave. He must be up for every meal, and the food is the best that can be provided. A sense of physical well-being is encouraged by filling his hungry stomach, for unlike the nervous civilian, most of these men have ravenous appetites. After 2 such days of relaxation, each man is again seen briefly by the psychiatrist.
How do you feel now?
Well, sir, I've calmed down a little bit. Feel a little bit better. I got fairly good sleep last night.
Have any medicine?
No, sir.
Slept well without any?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about this place?
Well, sir, get away from that noise and shell fire and everything else and get that tension off, I feel much better.
Well, I think you're going to be all right in another 3 or 4 days. What we're going to do is put you in the training center, where you'll have marches, hikes. You'll get a chance to get your confidence back. When's the last time you shot your rifle?
Day before yesterday, sir.
Well, we'll give you a chance to shoot it, give you a chance to get out there and get back into shape again. You'll be warm and you'll be dry. You'll be going back to duty in about 5 days. You'll be okay. Remember, what you had was just a safety valve, which everyone has, and which blows off steam. I think you were more scared about it than anything else. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Those men who are well enough move into nearby pup tents, where they live with other men as soldiers in training and not as medical patients. At this stage, the men once more are given rifles and field equipment, which must be cared for properly. They are given exercises regularly to get them back in good physical condition. They begin to act and look and feel like combat soldiers once more as they go through hard daily battle training. The ruins of recent battlefields lend realism to reconditioning maneuvers. Intelligent leadership by battle-tested officers and non-coms contributes greatly to the recovery of these soldiers. Here is a situation in which they can prove to themselves how well and able they have again become. After 4 or 5 days of training, they are seen again by the psychiatrist.
You've been here through the training period. You've had about 7 days away from the line.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel now?
I feel good, sir.
Ready to go back?
Yes, sir.
How'd you like the training?
The training was all right, sir. I think it helped out quite a bit.
How are your nerves?
Steady.
Feel that you're ready to go up there and do a job?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good luck to you, soldier.
All right, thanks, sir.
These men are again combat soldiers. Normally, 40 to 50% respond to the treatment which has been shown and return to full duty. Of these, 80% remain on combat duty, and a majority are rated by their officers as average or better than average soldiers. They go back to their fighting job as new men who know what they can expect of themselves. A lesser number, however, are more seriously ill and require a different handling. This man with a reactive depression is such a soldier.
What's your trouble?
I just can't stand seeing people killed, sir.
I can't hear you.
I can't stand seeing people killed.
Did you see people killed?
Lots of them.
What?
Lots of them.
Where did this happen?
In the front.
Well, what happened up there?
When they got the men on a forward slope, and the Germans start shelling them. They were trapped. Couldn't get out.
What happened to you?
I was lucky enough to get under a bridge. When the shelling quieted down, I just went crazy and I ran away.
Well, how do you feel about that, leaving your buddies?
Should be in a stockade. Just wanna go home.
Well, how do you feel right now?
I feel all right. Nothing wrong with me.
You say you ran away?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I didn't know what I was doing.
What were you afraid of?
Everything.
What in particular? What in particular?
Dead.
What?
Dead.
Dead what?
Dead people. Can't stand seeing them.
I can't hear you.
Can't stand seeing dead people.
What does that do to you?
Scares me.
Well, dead people can't hurt you.
I've been telling myself up for years.
What?
I've been telling myself up for years, but I can't stand looking at them.
Are you afraid of dying?
No. I'm not afraid of dying.
You afraid of getting hurt?
No.
You feel you have a job to do up there? Well, Bergeron, I think that you'll need a little more treatment. You're pretty jittery and jumpy now. What I'm going to do is send you back to another hospital where you can get more rest and more treatment. And you'll be okay. Just take a few days to get you rested up, and you'll feel a lot better.
It is obvious that this man is too ill to respond quickly to treatment. He is retarded and self-accusatory. His present condition, together with his past history of neurotic fears, leaves little hope of a rapid recovery. Another group of seriously shaken men is composed of old veterans who have been excellent soldiers, but have reached the limit of their endurance. Here we see a chronic anxiety state which has been labeled the old sergeant syndrome.
Well, what brought this about?
Well, shelling, I guess. Because I've been going with him for quite a long time now without any trouble.
How long have you been in the Army?
The Army? 34 months.
How long have you been overseas?
29, 30 months.
And were you through the African campaign?
Yes, sir.
Volturno crossings?
Yes, sir.
Anzio?
Yes, sir.
All up till here?
Up to here.
Ever been in the hospital?
No, sir.
Ever lost any combat time?
No, sir.
Well, that gives you about 320 days of combat then.
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you think's wrong with you?
Sir, I feel I've gone about as far as I could go.
Sergeant, do you think that you're sick?
Well, I'm not sick, no. But just not good anymore. I feel that I've taken about enough.
Well, what happens to you on the line?
Sir? At night, I just can't stand the shell anymore. The last time up here, I broke down. I have a section to lead. I'm just no good to him.
What do you mean you broke down?
Well, during the last shelling we took up here, had me crying all night. Just couldn't stand it. I didn't know just which way to turn or where I had to go.
Well, do you think you could go back up there and do a job?
No, I have my doubts.
Suppose I gave you a direct order.
Well, I guess nothing I could do about that.
You'd go up?
Go up.
But you think you can't make it? Is that it?
I'm quite sure of it.
Well, could you do a job out of shell fire?
I believe I could.
How do you feel about leaving your outfit?
Well, I feel bad about it. What? I'm not good to them. I can't lead them. I get them killed, get them wounded. Just not good.
You think you could take a job in a quartermaster unit, for example?
I believe so, sir.
How do you feel right now, at this moment?
Yes, I don't feel much. Feel better than if I was up there.
Even the best man can stand only so much. In the old veteran, anxiety reactions become chronic and fixed. He gets to be emotionally labile in combat, loses drive and judgment, and may finally bring disaster to his section. Often he will hold on in the line until actually ordered out by his CO. He is sick and has lost his effectiveness in combat, though he recovers composure rapidly behind the lines. He too must be evacuated.
Well, I'm going to send you back to a hospital now. Back there, you'll be able to be disposed of further. That's all.
Thank you, sir.
These men, and others too ill to be returned promptly to combat duty, are evacuated to a centralized NP clearing station located in the Army area. It is set up as close to the front line as the tactical situation permits. This small provisional hospital of 250 beds is never handicapped by the rush of surgical emergencies from battle. Unlike the evacuation hospitals, all its facilities are reserved for the care of psychiatric cases. Those cases who might easily become chronic neurotics if they are not treated promptly. Here they are assigned to ward tents, and as soon as possible they are interviewed by a psychiatrist.
Come in, Corporal.
Here again is the depressed soldier who was interviewed at the T&R Center.
Tell me something about your trouble, Corporal.
The biggest trouble is I can't stand seeing people get killed. Been that way all my life. And I can't kill anyone either. Tried. I couldn't do it. And when they started getting killed around me, and I started seeing people dead all around, it did something to me. I couldn't stand it. The last day, we were on a forward slope.
What happened to you?
And then got trapped on a forward slope. The Germans threw everything they had at them. I was lucky enough to get under a bridge. I just watched them take it. I don't know what happened to me. I just started running back.
How much combat did you have altogether, Corporal?
3 days, sir?
About 3 days. Have you always been this way?
Yes, sir. I could never see anyone die or anything like that.
This soldier has improved considerably since his interview at the T&R Center yesterday. He is less retarded, more alert and responsive. His depression is lifting. Rest away from the battlefield, a chance to clean up, and some chance to discuss his problems have produced the usual improvement.
And as a child, what sort of person were you?
I guess I was just an average child, except having inferiority complex. Very bad.
What do you mean by that, Corporal?
When I was a child, I just didn't think I was as good as anyone else. I had an inferiority complex.
Have you ever gotten over that?
Yes.
How do you account for that? Was there anybody or anything in your family life to make you feel that way? Were you normal size and strength as a child?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any trouble making friends?
That was my trouble. I didn't seem to have personality when I was a child. I developed it later on.
Were you much of an athlete, Corporal?
No, sir.
Did you go in for sports and play with other children?
Yes, sir.
Well, why did you feel inferior to them? Can you account for it?
No, sir, I can't.
How did you react when you were a child and you saw blood or saw somebody hurt?
Couldn't look at it, sir.
Even when you were very young?
Yes.
And how did it make you feel? Do you remember?
Numb. I couldn't stand seeing anything bad, any bad cuts or anything.
Did you ever get into a fight?
No, sir.
How's that?
I never cared to fight. I saw someone killed one time fighting.
Tell me about that.
It was just an ordinary street fight.
Speak up a little bit.
Just an ordinary street fight, sir. One man hit another man. He hit his head on a curb. Heard later he had gotten killed.
How did that make you feel?
Made me feel like I shouldn't fight.
How old were you then?
About 16.
What's your education been, Corporal?
1 year of high school, sir.
Were you a good student?
Average.
What sort of work have you done?
Salesman.
What did you sell?
Bakery products.
Worked for the same people all the time?
Well, sir, I also worked in a grocery store.
Did you ever have any trouble holding a job?
No, sir, I always had the best recommendations.
Are you married?
No, sir.
Got a steady girl?
Yes, sir, I was shipped out the day before I was supposed to get married.
How did you feel about that?
I didn't mind too much, so she'll always be there.
What do you think is wrong with you, Corporal?
I don't know, sir.
Corporal, this is a reaction which is one which occurs very frequently in men in combat, and it's made you very uncomfortable, but it's not particularly serious, and you're going to get over it. It won't affect you in civilian life. We're going to keep you here for a few days. We're going to explain things a little better to you, and when you understand more about this, you're going to feel a good deal better, and you're going to be able to do your work a good deal better. Nothing's going to get worse, I promise you that, and there's nothing going to interfere with you in future life.
Here at the Army NP clearing station, each patient who was evacuated from the division is re-interviewed. Here, as earlier, it is pointed out that his reaction is perfectly natural. It is emphasized that this reaction is temporary and that it should leave no permanent after effects to mar civilian adjustment. He is encouraged to start out on a course of normal, effective behavior instead of chronic neuroticism. Natural social contacts help these men to find themselves again. The pleasure of a hot shower adds to the feeling of a return to an ordered existence. Relaxation with other soldiers contributes to a feeling of normality. Games, reading, and music are available for those who wish them. A substantial number of men who couldn't be returned from the division recover sufficiently here at the Army NP Center to be sent back to the front. However, the majority need further treatment and will not return to combat in the near future. For example, a few tense, uncertain patients cannot start on their road to recovery because the specific sources of their anxiety have been obscured in the depths of an hysterical amnesia. This patient is such a man. He recalls readily his anxiety during the first 3 days of an attack on the Gothic line until he was blown out of his foxhole. But he can't tell what happened from that time until he came to in an aid station. This man will be given an intravenous injection of a barbiturate, which will permit him to relive his combat experiences constructively. Pentothal sodium, 1/2 gram in 10 cc's of distilled water, is injected while the patient counts slowly. At the point where counting becomes confused, the patient will be adequately narcotized and highly suggestible.
Louder. 16, 17, 38, 39, 40. You're back on the battlefield now. What are you doing? What are you doing? What happens then? What happens then? You're in your hole. Watch out, those shells are coming. Watch out! Duck! What are you doing? You're in your hole now. What's happening?
The shells is bursting all around.
Yes, go on. The shells are coming in. Where are you?
And I'm going out of my hole.
And what happens then?
I go in with my other buddy, but he's dead.
What do you do then?
I crawl inside of him. Until it gets too hot there, and I go into another hole.
And what do you do then?
We go up a little further to get together, and And we go home and get blown out of that hole. And my head, is that for my head? One shot you give me for my head.
Yes. What happened after you got blown out of the other hole? What happened then?
We take a ridge. Lost a good many men in my company. We taking it.
Yes.
It says, comrades. Comrades, hell. They shoot your guns, your best buddies. You want to be comrades. Our comrades, we comraded them. When they got about 15 feet in front of us, they threw their weapons away. Comrade. Well, that didn't make a goddamn difference to us. We shoot them. I'd like to get my hands on that one jury prisoner back there, the AC back. Yeah, he must have got hit in the arm. And he asked for cigarettes. He asked the USO girl. Cigarettes. I'll give it. She wouldn't give me none. I'd give him a cigarette. And he wanted to look at our knives. He looked at the knife and pulled out and showed it to him. He jumped back. And this one, that was skitty.
What happened after you were blown out of that other foxhole and you took the ridge? Remember, you're back there on the ridge now. You're back on the ridge. Watch those shells!
Tom! Tom! Get me out of here, Tom! Is you Tom?
Yes, I'm here.
My head right in the hole right now. That's the way it's gonna be right there.
What happened then, after you were on the ridge?
The shell came in. Close. 170s. This mistress got me and knocked me down in the big hole. And rocked it and rolled back down and got me in the head. And that's why we had already dug in there. We was digging in there and I had that hole there and they blew me out of that hole. And my Sergeant at Arms, you here?
Yes, I'm here.
How are we making up there now?
We're doing all right.
All right.
We're doing fine.
How's Bill?
Bill's all right.
You sure?
Yes.
Dramatic precipitation into the patient's battle experiences results in the reliving of the forgotten scenes. But the therapist often may have to lead the patient back to the subject in order to get a consecutive story.
Where'd you go after they blew you out of your hole for the third time?
They carried me out into a German dugout.
You're in the German dugout now. Tell me about that.
They covered me up with blankets.
Are you all right?
And they put me, I was still out.
In the process, violent emotions are evoked, frequently accompanied by tears. This abreaction is usual, but not always present in a successful interview.
You're in the German dugout. You're in the German dugout. You're safe now. You're safe now. Where are they taking you from the dugout? Where are you going from the dugout? You're going down the trail. You're going down the trail. You're coming to the aid station.
Battalion aid station. You're safe. You're all well.
Them shells are still coming in.
The shell. Watch this one.
You hear that one?
I hear it.
The big... You hear that barrage over there throwing in?
I hear it.
Well, let's get the hell out of here.
All right, we're going out of here. We're going to the clearing company.
Where?
601st Clearing Company. We're going back there.
601st.
That's way back and you'll be safe. We're going there.
How soon are they gonna... Will they put me up there
We're
again?
almost there.
Will they send me back up there again?
No, you'll be all well. We're going to make you better.
Am I going back to my outfit?
We're going to make you better. First you're going to be all well.
Am I going back to my outfit?
First, don't worry about that. First, you got to get better.
As the patient wakes up, he is forced to repeat the newly remembered experiences. This ensures that the memories will be available for later treatment. Other cases present different therapeutic problems. Here is a case of major hysteria.
How long haven't you been feeling well? It's hard for you to speak, I know, but soon you will be better and you will be able to speak.
Pronounced hysterical patterns, such as this dysphonia, are not common. And where they do exist, early treatment has prevented the spread of the hysterical reactions among other patients.
Take a cigarette.
You will notice that much anxiety remains evident in this case of hysteria. Classical conversion hysteria with complete repression of anxiety is not too frequently seen. Even here, however, the symptom so dominates the man that it must be removed before progress in treatment of his anxiety is possible. Speech disorders in general are very resistant to therapy, and this particular case showed no change after 3 interviews with pentothal. It was finally necessary to resort to the older method of applying phoretic stimuli to his larynx and using strong suggestion. Only then did his voice begin to improve significantly, and only then could his basic problem be approached.
Are you feeling any better since you came here? The same, I see. Do you feel frightened? You'll feel better after you rest for a while, and I'll see you again soon.
Some patients are even more disturbed and disorganized than this man. For example, here is another type of severe anxiety state with panic and confusion. Such cases have been labeled pseudopsychotic. The term emphasizes the temporary nature of the completely disorganized state. This rifleman was evacuated from the front after his best friend had been disemboweled by a shell fragment. He believes that he is still on the battlefield. A noise in the background causes him to grovel on the floor in an effort to protect himself from imaginary shells. Careful nursing care without sedation will often stop this reaction and restore contact with reality in a few days. However, packs and electroshock treatments sometimes are necessary to speed recovery. Men with this severe a reaction frequently are found to have had pronounced neurotic disabilities in their past. Here is another man with such a background. He is a chronic neurasthenic who developed a brief episode of complete disorganization while actually on the battlefield. However, he was able to compose himself rapidly when evacuated to the rear. His parents separated when he was 2. His childhood was unhappy, and he had numerous minor illnesses. In combat, he was terrified. After 4 days, he developed a confused panic state and had to be caught by an aid man before he could be brought in for care.
Tell me, why did you come into the hospital?
I came in the hospital because my nerves were dead. Got under shelling, cracked up.
Well, tell me what you mean by that.
My nerves just pulled up on me. Shell ran about 2 foot from my hole. And I got up and run and was crying. Just couldn't control my nerves.
How did you feel when you were nervous?
I just felt like a wet rag.
It is possible that neither this man nor the pseudopsychotic seen earlier should have been sent into combat originally, and it is impossible to return them to battle now. However, it must be remembered that good and able soldiers also lose their grip after long and hard combat. Again, we see a chronic anxiety state in another veteran sergeant who can no longer do his job in battle. He feels so guilty about this that he even refuses to wear his stripes. He has been overseas 18 months and has fought through the African and Italian campaigns. He was wounded once.
Has anything happened during the past few weeks that's upset you particularly?
Yes.
What was that?
One of my friends was killed.
How did you feel about that?
Well, sir. Well, I could hardly stand it.
Why?
Well, he seemed to be the best friend I had while I was there. We'd always been together since he had joined the company. We're very close friends.
Do you have any other friends left in the company or any men who were with you in Africa?
No, sir.
You're the last one.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about going back to duty if you had to?
Well, sir, if I had to, better than hate to, I guess I'd have to go.
How do you feel about facing the men again?
So I wouldn't go back to my company.
Why not?
I'd feel ashamed to go back to them. After leaving them once.
You'd feel ashamed to face them.
This sergeant is through in combat. Continued and acute battle fear, wounds, loss of friends, guilt feeling, and extreme fatigue finally overwhelm the strongest men. However, prompt psychiatric care makes further hospitalization unnecessary for many of them. These men on the road to recovery are sent to the Army Convalescent Hospital. Here they are promptly reclassified and sent to a replacement depot. At the depot, they are assigned to jobs in the rear area. They can do a useful job once again. They can go on fighting the war. And what's more important, in doing so, they regain their sense of personal value. There can be no more effective occupational therapy. Those who need further treatment are sent back to the base section NP hospital. Most of these men also can be sent finally to the replacement center for assignment to jobs in the rear area. Only a few are evacuated to the United States. Less than 10% of all psychiatric battle casualties continue to be so ill that they must be sent home as patients. Only 10%. That's only 1 man in 10 who is not able to continue in a useful job overseas. But the significant fact is that about half of the psychiatric battle casualties can be sent back to actual combat. This contrasts with the early days of the war in Africa. Then little or no psychiatric treatment was available ahead of the base section hospitals, from which only 2% could be returned to the fighting front. But now, early psychiatric treatment is saving thousands of men. Men who can continue the fight today, men who will be the healthy citizens of tomorrow.